think I just realized that.
Yeah, you didn't realize?
I didn't fully get that.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to An American Who Knows German, and we'll let you know about it every NordVPN sponsor. Use code EVAN. My name is Evan Edinger, and today we're going to be talking about a TV show on Netflix you've already watched in the future called Dark.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. You have already watched it. That's how time works.
I feel like watching this show has ruined my ability to watch any other show, because I'm honestly constantly double guessing what things are happening in very basic shows. We're just watching The Bachelor. I was like, did this really happen?
I'm trying to get used to the normal cause and
effect.
Cause and effect of something
storyline.
happens in the past, it affects the future. Not
the other way around.
Both ways.
So if you have not seen the TV show Dark yet, we're going to give you a pitch on why you should watch this show, because it's really, really good. It is available on Netflix. There's 3 seasons. One of the best shows I've ever seen in my life. Before we get into anything spoilers, I think we should just try and make an elevator pitch on why you should be watching this show. So why should we watch this
It's
show?
one of the few shows that I've ever watched that goes beyond the normal linear storytelling. Some shows, when they break the linear storytelling, they decide to tell it backwards or they tell it out of order and you got to figure it out. This, the narrative is like a loop. So it's like
an infinity loop.
It's an infinity loop.
Not a joke.
So the past can affect the future, which is how things normally work, but also the future can affect the past. And so it's this big mystery where things are affecting things in all directions and you're like, what the hell is going on? And then it has an amazing finale that you...
Amazing finale.
It's so worth it. So worth it.
Also, just saying, it is only 3 seasons.
That's 3 seasons.
26 episodes.
And it was written for 3 seasons.
Yeah.
So there's
there's no Dark 2.
No.
Too Dark, Too Furious.
That's it.
There's Easter eggs written in the first episodes that foretell the final episode. I think of all the shows that I've watched, this is probably one of the most just attention to detail shows. There's not anything in this show that's there by accident. It's not like a J.K. Rowling where you're like, maybe that was just a mistake and she didn't realize that she was going to do that. Whereas this, they have tiny little things in the background of scenes that are there so importantly that line up perfectly from episode 1. Just makes you appreciate it so much more when you get to the end.
Yeah.
Sometimes these little details are also incredibly specific foreshadowing as well.
Yeah.
So it's like, I've rewatched some of the episodes and they literally spoon feed you the last episode of the last season in season 1.
I know.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
But you're not thinking about that because it makes no sense
it makes no sense to you at the time. That's the thing.
You feel like you're solving a puzzle even though you're doing a really bad job. It's like watching a mystery or reading a murder mystery where every episode you're like, oh, now I think I got it, except you don't got it.
Which is funny because the characters think they got it as well.
Yeah.
So you're like, I know more than you, and then neither of you
turns out
know
you don't.
anything.
Silly Jonas. And then I'd say this is a really fun show to watch with people, as long as you're keenly watching. You really can't watch this show and just be on your phone. You kind of have to pay attention.
Oh my god, we watched it all together. Evan had seen it before, but me and Phoenix watched it for the first time together. We had multiple notebooks going with like family trees and charts and links and timelines of objects and where they had been, and oh my god, it was
You were like, where was the ring? Where was this pendant?
Yeah, pendants, books.
It like trains you to think about the tiniest details that might like just lead you completely a different direction.
Did you think that it was going to be like Stranger Things, season 1?
I'd heard it was. That's how I heard it pitched. Even on ads and stuff, I'd seen like, oh, it's the German Stranger Things. You should watch it.
Yeah, that's how they pitched it.
The first episode kind of feels like that because there's a lost boy.
There's like group of friends
there's a
riding their
mystery.
bikes.
Friends riding the bikes. I was like, I can get the
It
Stranger
ends at
Things
episode
vibes.
1, though.
After that, absolutely not.
There's no Stranger Things vibes.
It's so much better.
I felt,
Dare I say.
I mean, it did win the Rotten Tomatoes like best Netflix series of all time.
It
so.
did. Well deserved.
Stranger Things I very much enjoy, but it is that childlike, like, oh, I remember being scared of monsters,
like
but it's
nostalgic.
real. Yeah,
It's
whereas
just
Dark is very dark.
Yeah, you know,
it's adult
It's
dark.
glum. It's very sad.
2 more points before we enter spoiler territory, if we haven't convinced you yet. 1, the casting in the show is pretty much the best casting in any show I've ever seen in my life.
Oh my goodness.
Also in any film I've ever seen. It's just, you can't, the casting department deserves so much more money than whatever they got. Without spoiling anything, people just look the way that they need to look.
It should be CGI. How incredibly accurate. Because the casting is important to the story.
Yeah, it's vital.
You're seeing like the same characters at multiple different stages in their life, sometimes decades apart. So they need to hire multiple actors to play the same character at
that have the same
times,
face.
but they have the same face. It's so strange.
The elephant in the room is in German. So hypothetically, if you do not speak German, but you guys don't speak German, you enjoyed it.
I always forget it's in German.
In my head, they're speaking English.
Really?
Yeah.
I feel like if you yell something in German, it's like, I could figure out what that means.
Yeah.
Wir sind perfekt zusammen. Glaubt nichts anderes. we're perfect together.
Oh.
Okay. If you're learning German, this is a fantastic show because they all speak Hochdeutsch. It's very easy to understand in German. The German subs are immaculate, and also the English subs are good.
They're good. Yeah.
I wouldn't recommend watching the dub just because you get so much of the acting in the voices. So basically, I'm assuming at this point you've just stopped watching the video because you're just like, I'm gonna watch this right now. They signed me up. Good, please. We were like really drunk at like a shindig the other day, and the only thing we decided to talk about was Dark. And we're like, how you doing? We're like, we just think you should watch Dark. And they're like, what do you mean? We're like, just watch the show. Without further ado, we are gonna get into spoiler territory. So if you haven't seen it yet, you can click away now. Please flash, don't watch. But all right, Dark. So.
Dark.
I thought that season 2, as soon as season 2 started and it started to be like very similar, I thought it was just gonna be like a rewritten season 1 with certain changes, and then season 3 was gonna be a rewritten. It kind of was, but not fully.
It's so much more than that, though.
Yeah.
Season 3 like explodes.
Oh,
the
yes.
world just opens.
The end
up.
of season 2, I remember being like, I figured this shit out, man. Dark's pretty easy, actually. I got the whole thing, and then episode like 1 and 2 happened. I went, what?
It just gradually bends your mind more and more, to the point where when you're in season 3, you think about how confused you were in season 1, and you were like, whoa,
no,
that was easy.
There were so many questions in season 1 that make sense now, but still you'd be like, there's no way I could have figured that out. Like, Noah pulling in Bartaj into his car to be like, this is all of the stuff that's gonna happen. I've got written in my book, and you're like,
gotta go pull my dad into the story so I can be born.
Yeah,
I guess.
Yeah, cause and effect is just.
It's effect and cause.
Yeah. And
Bootstrap
cause
paradox
and
galore.
effect
I didn't know what that was before this, but bootstrap paradox is the word of the day.
The dark stuff that you then find out had to be caused by someone knowing that it had to happen because they had to do it.
It forces you to accept that the bad things had to happen
In
to work
order-
towards a goal.
Yeah.
But I never understood that until the very, very end.
To the very, very end,
Yeah.
and you're like, oh, this was actually for
The
something.
characters would be like, you can't change events that are meant to happen. And then you'd watch a character be like, change the event. And then it would be like, that didn't
That's
work.
not
And we'd be
gonna
like,
work.
darn it! They're the police. Why don't they cordon off a bit more than just a little piece of tape to be like, don't go in the hole.
Towards the end, they made you paranoid because you're like, every detail is a clue, and then they just put details in that.
There were just so many
mislead
details
you.
in season 1
Yeah.
that don't really matter in as much as I said in the beginning. Like, every detail matters. And they do matter, but the whole, like, the dead sheep, the dead birds, like, it was slightly important for, like, of an A to Z level
It's like an
story.
explanation.
Did you feel bad for Ulrich most of the time?
Oh, 100%.
He cheats on everyone, even in alternate timelines.
I didn't like the Nielsen's at first.
Yeah.
I thought they were all
Yeah.
pretty bad. I felt so bad for the Nielsen's in the end.
Really?
All of them got screwed over so badly.
I felt like by the halfway through season 2, I remember thinking like everyone in this town is and I think a character said that. I think it was the inspector who was like, all of you just lie to each other. And I was just like, yeah. Even he said to Charlotte, he was like, now I'm cheating on the woman that I cheated on my wife with. And I'm like, do you not see that's a problem, Ulrich?
I just feel like the longer it went on and the more bad stuff kept happening to him, and I was like, okay, or you can stop doing that to him now.
I tell you who did deserve it.
Hannah
Hannah
Don't
deserved
beat
it. Hannah oh my god, she was terrible all the way through.
Hannah. Every episode I'd be
She was
like,
one of the ones I liked in the beginning as well.
Really?
I was like, okay with
In
her.
like the first few episodes, we were like, oh, Hannah's a bit of a dick, and then everyone was like, you think she's a dick now?
yeah. I was like, believe me, every episode you hate her more.
Yeah.
I think one of my favorite episodes was when Jonas finally got to strangle her. As soon as she got in the room, I went, oh, I know what's happening. Someone's finally dying. Kill that mama. She did so many bad things over and over. I think the cruelest part where you really went anti-Hannah was when she went back in time to save Ulrich and then left him there.
Oh my god, the effort to go all the way back to the 50s.
And she pretended to be.
She pretended she was like,
Katerina.
she pretended to be Katerina. She was like, come on,
And she was
I'll get
like-
you out of
She's
prison.
sociopath.
I'll get you out of prison. And then he was begging her. He was
Yeah.
begging her, like, please get me out of
She
here.
was like,
Left him.
no.
Didn't she also cause Katerina's birth? She convinced Katerina's mom to have the baby.
She, she did. Because
So she basically caused the woman to be born that took away the one love she wanted to have. That was one of my big like, oh, how's it feel now,
I
Hannah?
think I just realized that.
Yeah, you didn't realize?
I didn't fully get that.
Yeah, you guys really didn't like
That's
that
one
poor
of the-
scene where Katerina got killed by her own mom.
The most uncomfortable death
Heartbreaking.
for me was Peter.
oh,
Where it's just
that was so
slow,
brutal.
It's that slow fight inside
And the-
inside the trailer.
Zach's
Knife pointed at him.
daughter.
He's pushing as hard as he can, but it just like very slow.
Slowly, a half hour before in another episode when Noah was like, oh, I'll be back when you're gone. Like, he literally just went like,
did as
oh, when you're
well.
dead, I'll be looking after her. And he was like, what? And then he's dead.
He meant tomorrow.
You just forgot. Yeah. Also, did you know in episode 2 of season 1, so very, very beginning, at one point, Jonas is talking to Hannah, his mom, and he's like, do you think he had any secrets? And she's like, who, Mikkel? He went, no, Dad. Just the same person.
Did you know in season 1, episode 4,
Oh.
they tell you that the universe is split. There is a school teacher in a classroom talking about the idea of the universe splitting into two and branching off in two directions, which is a season 3 reveal.
With the
Symmetry is a
line.
special kind of doubling.
The repetition is mirrored along a central axis. The repetition begins at an imaginary central point.
And branches off into two opposing directions. And then it tells you that it's foreshadowing. Several encrypted messages, references throughout. It tells you what the end reveal is, and then tells you it's foreshadowing.
There is the scene in which they show Mad's gravestone, and because he never was recovered, they have an infinity sign as his end date. Which really calls back to the fact that he's infinite loop. Like, he keeps coming back. He will not die. He'll just keep coming back. Which is, like, sure, it makes sense because he was never recovered, but also the infinity loop. God dang
The
it.
woman in the lake.
Sure. Oh, yes, we're just like, we heard a monster got
because
pulled a woman down in the lake.
Like kids just telling each other spooky stories, and then later on, like, it was a whole season later or something.
Yeah, it was a whole season and a half, yeah.
You find out that
It's
Katrina.
Katrina had drowned in the lake.
by her mom.
So this is in season 2, episode 1, and it's Elizabeth's book. There's a man, there's 3 worlds, one is whole, 2 are halves, and then there's a woman. So it's the 3 worlds,
Adam and Eve. That, like, the art
We appreciate in the alternate universe, everything is flipped.
I really enjoyed that.
was
The
incredible.
extra details. The funniest one was definitely Vuller's eye. He had his eye, but now he didn't have an arm.
Missing an arm now.
Okay.
Last scene, the original.
When they go
in
to
time,
the original universe, yeah.
There was bus stop is on either side in parallel universes,
Yeah.
and at the end, it's right at the end in the middle of the road,
In the center.
in the center.
So you know
Oh.
the original
When they go
universe.
back to the original to
Because there's no
to
split
stop the
there
car
anymore.
crash, yeah.
What were your crazy theories?
The end of season 3 was going to be the start of season 1.
I thought that
so,
made sense.
And so the knot was going to be tied between 2 universes,
Mm-hmm.
knotted together, which means both have to exist. They're linked into each other. Certain things have to happen in certain universes.
That wouldn't have been satisfying, though, would it?
It wouldn't
'Cause it would have been a never-ending
I like
story.
the ending we got because it
Yeah.
added something.
I just find it funny that they were like, and now it's fixed, but also everything that you just stressed over never existed in the first place.
Luckily, there weren't too many happy moments for the characters, so nothing to be sad
yeah.
about not existing. Really.
Hannah survived. Can you believe this?
Hannah
Oh,
survived.
that made me angry.
Ulrich didn't live for her to be attached to. Because that was like why she was so horrible, right? 'Cause she was attached to
Ulrich
Ulrich.
existed.
She just wanted him or wanted nobody to have him.
So Ulrich's existence just caused everyone.
Yes,
pain,
because he
including
was such a
himself.
bad guy.
I wrote down one sentence, and that was my theory for, I think, season 3. And I just wrote, Hannah Claudia's mum?
Well, once you knew that Hannah went back in time, you're like, what's she gonna
She
ruin?
gave birth to Celia, who gave birth to Noah.
Blows my mind. That one was like,
yeah.
what?
Yeah.
I wouldn't have predicted that. Even after you get the whole Charlotta and her daughter, you're like, wait.
That was
That was my favorite reveal.
Yeah, that was
and
such a
I
good reveal.
clocked it 1 episode before it happened.
Yeah,
Reveal.
because Jump was like, I have this crazy.
I knew there was going to be.
Yeah.
I knew there was going to be a reveal.
It was gonna be such a bullshit. It's such
And
like
the
a
whole season
what?
was the whole season was like, who is Charlotta's parents? Ooh,
Yeah.
it's a big mystery.
It's her daughter.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. My favorite like scene/line was that scene where Jonas is absolutely like pent up in rage at everything happening. And he's yelling at his mom, and he's like, "Oh, here we go." The quote is, "Now I have another grandma, and she's the principal of my school. Her husband, who's fucking my mom, is looking for his son, who's my father. A few days later, I kissed my aunt, and the crazy thing is, there's nothing wrong with any of them. They're okay. I'm what's wrong. I just want everything to go back to normal." But it's just like, just him trying to fathom all the different things that have happened in his life.
Yeah.
And he's like, what?
In a very short space of
And
time.
he can't do anything about it, because if he changes anything, then he. Well,
It is-
Well, he can't change
He
anything.
can't change anything.
If he tries to, he
There's
can't.
so much incest.
There's some
in the show.
incest. Be warned.
There's
There's
like,
a lot of it. But it's not.
Unintentional.
Did you guys ship older Jonas with Marta? In season 2 beginning, I remember where he was like dreaming. I was like, oh, but he's wanted this for so long. But I'm like, damn, 33 years too long. And I was like, yeah, but that's true love. And then I was like, but also no. And I was like, oh, it was so hard. And then Katrina was like, you stay away. I'm like, she's being a good mom, but also, what do you mean? They love each other.
Yeah.
It's so tragic. The whole like ending where they just Thanos snapped away.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, but I want them.
Such a
They don't
beautiful
exist to be
scene.
together.
It was playing What a Wonderful World. Such a nice song to end on.
Oh, but it was like a different like cover.
Yeah.
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 They had a
Sound
lot of
nailed.
English songs in the sound. The soundtrack's really, really good for Dark.
So good.
The main theme is in English.
But it's German band.
It is in English though.
Oh, you're right. Fall on your knees. I just googled it on Reddit, and the top one says, "Can anyone explain what the is going on?" That's everyone's thought the entire episode.
I said that many times.
Oh yeah, what was your favorite quote? It was you always reference it. It's the song or something. The one that.
Oh, it's part of the song that Ulrich listens to, and then Egon picks up. It's like, my only aim is to take many lives. The more, the better I feel.
We didn't even talk about Egon this entire time, but Egon was.
I didn't like him at first, I'll be honest. I think
because he was bullying Ulrich.
Other characters painted him out to be bad, and he was bullying. He was going after Ulrich.
I feel like every character was like, he doesn't care about anything. He doesn't do his job properly.
But
he was the one trying to get stuff done.
When young Charlotte asks how she can save the dead bird, and then I think is it Noah? A different character basically says you can't bring it back to life. You have to go back to before it died and then save its life.
Oh.
So it has to die for you to be able to then go back and save it. Like Regina had to die for her mum to be able to save her by undoing everything.
Claudia's whole thing was that she wanted to save Regina because Regina dies of cancer.
She incidentally saved everything just because
she
wanted to
incidentally
save her
saved everything,
child.
but that's all she wanted.
It felt like it was mostly Adam versus, Claudia for most of it. And then season 3, they're like, okay, it's actually Adam versus Marta. That makes way more sense. But who the heck was Claudia up to? Whose side is she on? She wasn't on a side.
I didn't
this
trust her
rogue
at
third
first.
wheel.
She was that third part of the triangle that really makes sense, I suppose.
The more it went on, the more I was like, oh, actually, she seems to be paying a lot more attention than the other people who just kind of want to get their side to win.
Adam just wanted to end the world. Marta wanted to continue the world, and Claudia's just like, I want my baby.
I want
my baby girl.
I just want Regina. Adam and Eve were both so arrogant, and they both thought they had all the answers to fix the universe, and both of them failed.
Yeah.
Claudia was like, listen, take my hand. We got this.
Yeah, that was such a good ending where where he was just like, but how? I don't get it. And she was like, you me.
I've done this many times before.
I felt bad for him because he had invested so much into this idea that everything was going to end and all of his suffering and pain because he'd been stuck in this never-ending thing for his entire existence.
So just overall review, what do you got?
Definitely my favorite Netflix series of all time. My favorite series of all time.
Yeah.
Screw it.
Yeah.
It's gonna be one of the one shows.
It's just hard to say that, but I'm also like,
I genuinely don't know if I'll find anything better.
That's depressing.
Yeah, which is
that is really sad.
I cannot experience that for the first time ever.
It was such a wholesome, satisfying feeling at the end where I went, this was worth all of my investment. There's so many shows where I watch where you're like, that was a good ending.
Yeah.
That was a lot of time I spent. Yeah, exactly. We were like,
I'm going to forget about this in a week.
Yeah, exactly. Where this, I'm still thinking about it.
I finished it over a month ago.
I feel like even though obviously it's 100% German, I do feel like it was very much gauged for international audiences very well.
Oh, 100%.
Oh,
yeah.
Like, it's not like they just did English as a second thought. But 10 out of 10, would recommend.
100%, 10 out of 10.
Obviously, if you've come this far in the video, you have watched this show.
Unless you haven't, then...
What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
It's a shame on you. But also, tell me what your thoughts are. Favorite quotes, favorite episodes. What did you think in the old comment section?
What was your favorite Easter egg?
Oh,
that you later found out was an Easter egg, but you had no idea.
Yes, please. Anyway, thank you very much for watching the video. Hope you enjoyed it. A little bit different than usual, but I like this show so much. That's why I had to do it. If you liked it, give it a big old thumb. I'll see you guys next Sunday. Enjoy the heat. I'm boiling. Bye.